Hello everybody, welcome back to 10 Minute Reviews. I'm Jason, bringing you today's episode. My fuzzy co-star Freya is not here at the moment. She might make an appearance. If you see a blurry, furry missile come launching in, that would be her. As always, guys, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. We always say this. Hi, Fuzzy. We always say this. We're just a small little family channel. Me, this fuzzy four-legged one, and the wife. We just love to talk about books, love to read books, love to talk about books. And we want to keep bringing more books to you guys. So we're going to do it no matter what, but we would appreciate any support you guys might want to give us. Don't forget to check down below for the links to our Discord channel, to today's videos, and to anything else or today's book, anything else that we might find applicable. Could use the traffic through our Amazon affiliate links. Just helps us out. And thank you, by the way, to our sponsors. Really appreciate you guys. That's how we support indie authors. Besides these videos, is we take the patronage money and buy indie authors physical books every month. So today I want to talk about fantastic author. Now I've talked about this author in the past, other series of his, and I've talked about the first book of this series. I want to talk about Shane Purdy and his book, The Undying Magician, Book 2. Now, because I've already reviewed book 1, I'm not going to do my usual 4 categories of the world, the character, the plot, and the writing style. I'm just going to, in general, talk about this book, because it is as good, if not better, than the previous book. One of the things I really liked about the Undying Magician world that he created, very, very similar to another series that I've been reviewing, is that we take this magic and this magical, these magic abilities and this magic-centric and magic-heavy world, and we combine it with modern high-tech society. And I'm not talking combined like, say, the Dresden Files combined, where you just have magic in this, like, hidden world kind of thing. But I'm more talking about the fact that magic pretty much is everything about this world. You cannot reach a certain level within society if you have not hit a certain level with your magic. And it's not lit RPG, but because of the say the channels of mana and stuff like that for magic and how they have to cultivate it and stuff like that, it has a little bit of elements, but it's not really lit RPG. It's just a fantastic, I don't know if I should call it a fantasy novel or an urban fantasy novel, because again, you've got high society, and the main character, his 2 weapons of choice are a sword and a sniper rifle, basically a Barrett. So you got a little bit of everything, and I really like this world building. I like these kinds of world building, modern society, or at least modern technology mixed with the fantasy and the magic of it. So we have Nathan, our undying magician, the magician that just cannot die. He's a very, very weak magician, not super weak, but he's definitely got potential, but he's not the strongest. And this continues at the academy where the last book left off. However, we already know from what was said in the last book that he is going to have to disappear because of his unique immortality trait, that once it comes out, once the wrong people know, it's just not going to go well. So he needs to disappear, and he needs to continue growing stronger while still under the somewhat protection of one of the few S-class magicians who are basically gods within this world. Psychopathic gods, by the way, but because they obviously, everybody wants immortality. Everyone wants to steal the ability of immortality, so they're trying to figure out how. This book does start telling us a little bit. We start learning a little bit more about what types of magic might be, I guess you could say, imbued within his cells, within Nathan's cells. But this is definitely a very, very interesting book, very different than the first book. We get away from the university, or from the academy, fairly quickly, and we end up with not entirely clear another country, definitely another country. I get the sense as it's another continent, and it's basically a fallen continent. It's a continent that, due to some prior magical issues, is for the most part off limits, or so incredibly dangerous that most people don't go there. It is full of undead. There was an undead S-class magician or not an undead, but a death magic S-class magician back in the day. Excuse me. And it's just, it's a different world. And what I really like about this book is this book really takes Nathan, and it almost levels him up in a couple of ways, which is pretty cool. Opens up a lot more things for him as well. He's been under the thumb of this S-class space magician for quite some time, and he does manage to marginally get himself out of it. And along with that, this novel, he really starts to come into his own. Now, most of what most of us read within this genre, we always have the overpowered main characters, and that is definitely not Nathan this time in this particular book. But because of his immortality trait that really gets showcased near the end, he's definitely got more power than most, but he also gets a lot of opportunities within this book. Now, he also gets a few things that he's not quite such a big fan of. He continues to be experimented on by these uber powerful S-class magicians, and so one of them makes some, I guess you could say, biological changes to him, which shouldn't have been possible, and how they're made is pretty interesting, because then Nathan figures out how he can use it to get rid of one of his primary weaknesses, which has been the appearance of youth for him, because the way his immortality works, he did not age, period. So he was in his very early 20s, but still looked like he was like 15 or 16. And he's figured out a way to at least start getting rid of that particular weakness. Along the way, he picks up a few other things that enable him to start increasing his magic. So, or at least his magical strength, not necessarily his magical ability. And another thing I really like about this world that has been built is how magic and magic spells are basically computer programs. You want to figure out how to do a magic spell, you need to figure out the programming on it. You need to figure out how to program it. Once you figure out how to program it, there you go. You're all set. Now you can run your program, basically. You can cast your spell. And Nathan actually, in this book, because of he's no longer at the academy, no longer around a bunch of magicians, he ends up, figuring out, getting some help to increase his core power, his raw power, but he doesn't have anybody teaching him spells. So he kind of gets a little bit unbalanced in that he's powerful enough to be considered 1 or 2 levels higher than his previous level, but at the same time, he actually didn't have the magical ability to qualify. There's basically multiple things need to be met, multiple qualifications need to be met to be considered, A class, B class, C class, D class. And he has to figure out how to do that, while at the same time he's basically independent. And there are some other societies out there, quite a few of them it turns out, little warring city-states in a way, and magic has been suppressed. There's magic out there for sure, but they generally, a magician rules a city, and they kill other magicians to prevent them from taking over the rules. So there's very, very few magic users out there, none of them formally trained, or very few of them formally trained. And then you've got Nathan coming out of this coming into this area that he's independent, doesn't belong to anybody, does have some formal training, and has some powerful weapons and some powerful magic. And he really starts to come into his own. He starts to come into his own in self-confidence. He didn't lack for self-confidence in the first book, but he wasn't really that confident in himself either. In fact, he spent most of his time scared in the first book for a number of reasons, and rightfully so. And in this book, he manages to really come into his own. He's still scared, but now he's thinking a whole lot more about, how do I get more powerful enough that people cannot take advantage of me anymore, and he starts doing it. The book definitely ends with quite an interesting lead into the next book, so I cannot wait. But this book is just absolutely fantastic, guys. You gotta check it out. So you gotta check out all of Shane Purdy's stuff. He writes some intense books. They're absolutely fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We will catch you guys next time. Bye now.